Today, I'm breaking down my favorite draft position in 2026 fantasy football drafts. And spoiler alert, it is going to be from the earlier spots, ideally even that 101 range. So going to be going through some mock drafts later in this episode. And all in all, just talking about, again, the reasons why I do prefer, if possible and given the opportunity, to be drafting sooner rather than later in fantasy drafts this season. Let's kick things off with, again, the thought process behind preferring the 101 pick among all others. And it comes down, guys, to these first handful of picks, okay? I'm not going to pretend like 12, 15 rounds worth of fantasy picks during any given draft is something like that I can realistically predict. You know what I'm saying? But in the first 5, 6 rounds, it is a little bit more reasonable. We can at least find pockets of players based on ADP, based on doing a bunch of drafts throughout the summer that we can feel reasonably confident are going to be available to us. So with that in mind, guess what? You know, the one pick we can be fully confident in and have absolutely no worries about someone taken from us. It is 101, and it is Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs, who I just think has the most crystal clear, straightforward, boom profile of any player in fantasy football. We're talking about a player in his prime and an offense that is now willing to feed him a workhorse role. That was usually just a problem over the years. It's also an offense we expect to be really freaking good. Other than the Bills, the Lions have probably been the most consistently high-scoring offense of the last half decade. And for me, that is the biggest separator between Gibbs and Bijan Robinson. Could Bijan outscore Jahmyr Gibbs? Sure. Yeah, it could happen, okay? But at the same time, no more Dave Montgomery to worry about, in Detroit. And I just think it's the cleanest possible situation. The Falcons offense could be horrible. Like, that is a reasonable thing that could happen this year. They weren't great last year. Bijan was just fine. But again, if I don't have to risk it, why would I? Give me Jahmyr Gibbs 101. We're feeling good about Gibbs, okay? Comes back around the round 2 turn. This is where we have to take a little bit of a leap of faith, all right? It's not guaranteed that we're necessarily going to be able to pick the exact player we want, but I do like the available pockets. If we're looking at, again, current Yahoo ADP, probably not going to get one of these remaining RB1s. I'm talking about the likes of Devon A. Chance, Saquon Barkley, Omarion Hampton, Chase Brown, Kenneth Walker, and Derrick Henry, but it's possible. But just assume we won't, okay? Similar sentiment with Brock Bowers. That sets us up pretty nicely, guys, to get a baller wide receiver, or more likely even 2 of them. So if I am sitting there at the end of round 2, I'm going to have back-to-back picks, obviously. No third-round reversal here. I hate third-round reversal unless it happens to work out for my fantasy team in that specific draft. But when I'm looking at that round 2-3 turn, I see A.J. Brown going a few picks off, which is crazy to me. He's my wide receiver 5 overall. Drake London is someone who, again, sometimes falls around that range. Nico Collins is regularly in that range. And the true guys that are even safer and almost guaranteed at a certain point, because, we're getting 3 of the top 25 picks overall. If we like the top 12 running backs, and we like the top 12 wide receivers, and we like Brock Bowers, there's your 25 dudes right there. Throw Josh Allen in there if you want. But Chris Olave with Jordan Tyson, unfortunately, expecting to miss, at least probably 6 weeks of the regular season. My guess would be he's back around week 8. Chris Olave set up incredibly to do his best impression of the second half, what we saw from him last year. Malik Neighbors, someone who is on track to be out there in week 1. And if he looks good, guys, Malik Neighbors will probably be a round 1-2 turn pick. But instead, we can get him at the round 2-3 turn. Even someone like Rashee Rice, who I'm out on, but you can certainly see the bear case. And if you're in on Rashee Rice, then okay. He's been a wide receiver 1 when he's healthy and legally allowed to be on the field. I get it. Even George Pickens, like Devontae Smith-Njigba. There's so many great receivers, I think, that we can still get here that we don't have huge concerns about. Specifically for me, I would like to get 2 of, actually, London, AJB, Nico Collins, Chris Olave, and Malik Neighbors. But if not, there's better options. And hey, maybe you're a Josh Allen guy. He's going to be available there for you at the turn. Maybe you do want to go ahead and get more of a Breece Hall, Jeremiah Love. I don't think, given those injuries, that's a smart idea. At the 2-3 turn, they're probably not going to come back to you at the round 4 or 5 turn. But again, don't chase injuries in fantasy football. They will find you soon enough. I think Javonte Williams, and if he gets out of legal problems, Josh Jacobs could be in play here as well. The world is really your oyster, and it's your oyster with a really good player at any position. So we can get Josh Allen, we can get Brock Bowers, we can get a consensus top 12 wide receiver. I don't know that we can get a consensus top 12 running back. I assume they're all going to be gone, but Javonte Williams and Josh Jacobs, they're guys that I am willing to take at that round 3 spot as well if you're trying to start your draft with 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds. So again, can do so many different things from here, but no matter what, we're having Jahmyr Gibbs and we're getting 2 more studs at the picks 2 and 3. Gonna have to wait a bit. That is the thing when we're picking at the turn. Gonna be a minute before you're drafting again. But guys, this whole strategy and a lot of the strategies I've been pushing to you here, I appreciate you listening to them throughout the summer. It comes down to one, have as many bullets as possible to attack this mid-tier, mid-round, I should say, wide receiver range. I don't want to have to worry about the Travion Hendersons and the Bashaw Tutons of the world. I look at Cam Scatterbo and Quinshon Judkins, and call me old-fashioned, but I prefer my fantasy running backs when I'm using a top 5 pick on them, and rounds-wise, I prefer their legs to have been in one piece over the course of the past 12 months. Bucky Irving's going round 4 on Yahoo still. I'm sure a couple of the guys I name will go on to have perfectly fine seasons, but I can paint a way more promising picture in my mind and with the numbers right now with the wide receivers going this range. As we come back around the 4-5 turn, I see Lab McConkey going just off, again, where we should be expecting to pick. I see Jalen Waddle, your favorite fantasy analyst, favorite, breakout wide receiver, going just earlier than that 4-5 turn. Luther Burden, we're getting a little bit of a discount. He is fully expecting to be ready for week 1. Fantastic. Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, the Unks, who right now we do give a little bit of mindfulness to the idea that they're older and we could see a fall off, but as much as we want to rank them wide receiver 23, 24, 25 right now, they could be pushing that wide receiver 1 borderline guys as early as week 1 or week 2. So round 4-5, generally in an ideal world, I probably start off with Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's say here's where it comes down to for me. Let me say this. I think it's unlikely that I get one of Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, Hampton back at the 2-3 turn. It's unlikely to happen. Assuming that doesn't happen, at the 2-3 turn, I would probably double tap wide receiver. I would pray the fantasy football gods I can get A.J. Brown. Let's say that doesn't happen. I get Chris Olave and Malik Neighbors. Great. If I only have one running back through the first 3 rounds, the 4-5 turn is where I'd be looking to get my RB2. Because there are a few okay options. I know I listed some guys that scare me, and generally, I don't want to be going super hard in the paint at RB in these mid-rounds, but DeAndre Swift has never finished worse than RB2. We love the offense. He's got explosive pass-catching ability, and his primary competition for touches, Kyle Monungai, hyperextended his knee, could be at less than 100% once he's back on the field. Dave Montgomery, I've gone back and forth on the guy. Is he a dead zone running back? Is he not a dead zone running back? For those unaware, that sort of archetype is someone who we don't necessarily love the talent profile. Demon's had a good career, but getting a little bit older. I don't think anyone's confusing him for, a superstar. That's all I'm saying. We don't love the scoring upside of the offense. Reasonable. Okay, I could see the Texans being better this year, but if we had to rank our expectations 1 through 32, they'd probably be a little bit closer to 32 than 1, middle of the pack. But you look at the volume. And it should be good for Monty. I wonder if Woody Marks could make it a little closer than anticipated, but I see the allure. I see the possibility for Montgomery having 300-plus touches. It's just, what are those really going to be worth in an offense with another retooled offensive line that's probably going to be bad again? But the difference for me, I do at least like the fact that the Texans should be a really good football team. Badass defense. We've seen them make the playoffs every single year under DeMeco Ryans and, C.J. Stroud doing their thing. Will Anderson as well certainly deserves to be, mentioned as a cornerstone of that organization. Even Travis Etienne, guys. Travis Etienne. He was someone on my fade list when it was round 3-4 turn. I got him in early round 5 a couple times. So if I only have one running back in the first 3 rounds at the round 4-5 turn, I will be targeting Travis Etienne, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift. Those are the 3 dudes who I'd be willing to get away from the wide receivers for, get my second running back, and then just get another sweet wide receiver. So again, Lab McConkey, Luther Burden, or one of these unks. Those are the guys that are going to be more so in play for me. And that's our round. That's our first 5 rounds. That's what we can pretty confidently be predicting, man. And look, I'm giving you guys my picks. I don't want to do the thing where I say, oh, hey, I'm in so many fantasy drafts. I'm going to have exposure to all these guys. So good luck, I guess, with everyone. I just really find that annoying. So I'm going to give you some picks that are going to be wrong. But you know what? I'm sure you guys are going to be right on certain things that I'm fading and wrong about. Primarily, probably DJ Moore, okay? The more I look at it and the more I look at the draft position, I know I've listed him as a fade multiple times. Ankle seems to be fine. Feel free to still slander me if and when DJ Moore has a huge year. You can go back and look at my fades video and say, Ian, you were dumb. Why were you fading DJ Moore? I'm officially removing DJ Moore as a recommended fade. I still don't know if I'm going to draft him all the time, but just the more and more I look at it, guys, round 5-6 turn, I'm hyping up Jalen Waddle. And I do believe in Jalen Waddle, truly. But like, you can make a very similar argument for DJ Moore. And the price just isn't that bad. I don't feel as good about Bashaw Tutin, about Jadarian Price, given Charbonnet coming back. I don't want Bucky Irving. And that's pushing up these wide receivers for me. So, again, you guys have made really good points in the comments. I read them. I listen to you. I listen to others. No, I'm not changing my thoughts on DJ Moore because he took a freaking crosser route uncovered for 30 yards in the preseason. I would say I'm lacking confidence in the running backs there. I've tried to look in the mirror about it. I think it was a mediocre take on my part. And I've said it's a fade that scares me. All right. So at some point, maybe I shouldn't be fading the guy if it scares me so much. I would like to think that I am afraid of it for a good reason. And that good reason is I probably shouldn't be full fading him. So I'll even put DJ Moore in that. Ideally, a little bit later, I'd love him in round 6, but you know what? You want to take him around. Mike Evans, another comp that's really not that different when you think about it. He deserves to be in that tier. So apologies for, again, switching up the mind on it, but I don't want to just have take lock with it either when I realized that I probably said something that wasn't, the best idea. And I don't want you guys going out there and drafts and missing out on opportunity because I'm too stubborn to, admit I was wrong or not go back on it. So anyway, 101 preferred draft position, Jahmyr Gibbs getting there, 101. Probably going 2 wide receivers here. Chris Olave, Malik Neighbors. Ideally, though, A.J. Brown, Drake London, Nico Collins fall. If you want to go Josh Allen early, go ahead. I love the late round quarterback pool, but it's reasonable to get Josh Allen here. And I do think there is that spot where Josh Allen should be going at the beginning of round 3. So I think that is a good spot. I would not chase him up into round 2. I don't want him before those top 12 wide receivers, before the top 12 running backs, and before Brock Bowers. But I think I do have him rank like literally 26th overall. So if you want to take Josh Allen there, I totally get it. And this would be the area to do it. And then just the wide receivers, man. Mix in another running back. Ideal world, more times than not, I'm leaving these first 5 rounds with Jahmyr Gibbs, probably more likely one of DeAndre Swift or David Montgomery. And then let's say A.J. Brown, Malik Neighbors, Lab McConkey, or Luther Burden, or Mike Evans, or even DJ Moore. That's a nice freaking start to my fantasy team, guys. We're going to have to be going late round waters with tight end and quarterback. We're going to show off some of those options here in a few minutes with the mock drafts, but I really do like that. And that same mindset applies to these first 4 and 5 slots, okay? Because I know not everyone's going to have a chance to get 101, obviously. But if you can't get 101, I do think I'm willing to go all the way 2, 3, 4, 5 and just kind of go down that list. Keep an eye on the Christian McCaffrey tightness. I don't have big reason to be alarmed, but I think that's the tier in round 1 where I have 0 questions. You know what I'm saying? Relatively 0 questions. I know the Falcons offense could suck. We talked about that. But Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. Puka Nacua, please, for the love of God, just hang out on a weekend for a change. I know I'm lame. I go out to dinner with my wife, and then I go home and I watch UFC on Saturday nights and maybe do fantasy football stuff, That's a me problem. I get it. I'm not saying you can't go have fun. But Puka, please, you're about to get a contract with a lot of zeros on it, and a lot of us are drafting you as a top 4 fantasy pick. Chill out, man. And then CMC, though. And this bigger idea, I don't think you need to double tap running back round 1 and 2, like some people are always saying. I do think it makes more sense around the turn, given kind of the drop off at wide receiver. But man, I got CMC number 3, pending this tightness thing getting figured out. because I do love having that hero running back to start, man. It just makes your ability to avoid, I think, some of the landmines at running back while embracing this awesome range of wide receivers that much more bearable. So ideal draft slot 101. Then I would go literally down the line 2, 3, 4, 5, because I do think JSN, not that he's not amazing, but it is a new play caller. Probably going to regress to some extent because it's just so historical seeing the way he dominated that offense. Did pay Rashid Shaheed. I'm sure he'll still finish as a wide receiver 1, but sixth pick is, if I have the choice, I'd rather go before it. Amon-Ra St. Brown, incredible wide receiver 4, 3 straight seasons, I think, maybe even 4 straight seasons. Are we positive he can get that overall wide receiver 1 season like a Chase, like a Puka, new offense? Jahmyr, Laporta, Gibbs is a little bit crowded. And then we get to the running backs that, again, are just kind of in the down tier. So I would prefer to pick in one of these 5 spots. If you want to be closer to the middle, that does give you a better chance of getting Brock Bowers. I've talked about my Super Bowers draft strategy. I would say the 105 is probably your best case to kind of get that best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? You get one of these top 5 dudes, then you get Brock Bowers, and then you can either go with the Javonte Williams in round 3 or start spamming wide receivers. But yeah, it really does set up nicely, guys. When you're closer to 4 or 5, the only give or take is I do think there's a little bit of a drop off after the top 26, 27 players, as you all can see on this draft board. But the caveat, the other side of that argument is in round 2, you have a much better chance of getting an AJ Brown, of getting a Brock Bowers, of even getting one of those sliding running backs. So 1 through 5, early to mid-early draft position, my favorite thing to do. Allows you to get 2 really good running backs inside the first 5 rounds that we can feel good about. Potentially get an elite onesie. I would like to keep it at 1. I actually had a Yahoo mock draft today with, other alleged fantasy draft experts. I got cute. I think I was drafting out of the 106. I went CMC, Derrick Henry, Josh Allen, and Colson Loveland. 3 starting wide receivers, though. Probably should have gone to Mecca Ibuka over Colson Loveland. He's got the toe thing going on. That was the only reason I didn't love it. But guess what? After that, I took wide receivers. I think it was 6 of my last 7 picks. Still ended up okay enough. Generally, though, I think that was playing it a little bit risky. I like to see stuff. I like to try things and mock drafts. Shout out to the NBC fan for including me with it. But just something to keep in mind there. 1 through 5, you're going to get a baller in round 1. The closer you are to 5, the better chance you have of getting one of the sliding running backs or a sick wide receiver, but they're still going to be there for you at the 2-3 turn as well, which is why I do prefer 101. Rounds 4 and 5, you have that patch of running backs, specifically Montgomery and DeAndre Swift, who I would be willing to, again, risk it for. Otherwise, we're just taking great wide receivers. And then we get going down, guys. Round 6, Christian Watson, Parker Washington. Maybe year 3 Marvin Harrison Jr. has something for us. I don't love investing in that Cardinals offense, but if I'm going to, I want to do it in round 6 or round 7 instead of round 3 or round 4. DK Metcalf, actually priced as the boom and bust wide receiver 3 he's been throughout his career. Chris Godwin. Ibuka is a little bit banged up right now. Was the disparity between their ADP too big to begin with? Quentin Johnston. Josh Downs maybe sliding after they signed Keenan Allen. Jaden Reed. There are so many wide receiver targets I want in this range. I'm not saying you can't mix in a running back at some point, but we're going to have 2 to 3 wide receivers through the first 5 rounds. We have all those dudes I just named. We can easily pick off another 2 or 3. We already have our top 2 running back spots figured out. We'll mix in a Bill Krosky Merritt. Then we'll get handcuffs. And then we'll have the late rounds to attack a soft spot at QB. You can be that guy where everyone goes, oh my God, Bo Nix in round 12? How'd that happen? Good job, Phil. That's you in this equation. If your name's actually Phil, that's kind of hilarious, Late round tight end is the one spot that bothers me a little bit. Shocker, guys. The closer we get to the season, the more we realize tight end isn't as deep as we thought it was. Who could have ever seen this coming? It doesn't happen every single year or anything like that. But Isaiah Likely, round 10. You can just get a boring unk, Dallas Goedert, maybe a Jake Ferguson, Jawan Johnson now. He's a great pick. Jordan Tyson being sidelined. Get some of those guys and then tack on Terrence Ferguson with your last pick as a lottery ticket. So the sacrifice is there, but you know what? Maybe you go Brock Bowers in round 2 for more of a 4 or 5 spot. So all in all, guys, 101, my favorite draft position. 102 to 105 would be where I'd be going afterwards. But hey, let's show you guys with actually our RotoWire mock draft tool, but also want to remind you guys that if you are interested in all the tools RotoWire has to offer, code Ian35 for 35% off, baby. And the mock draft tool, it's actually going to be a good demonstration for you guys if you're interested to see what it would be like to have our live draft assistant, where you're literally able to draft in Yahoo, ESPN, and Sleeper leagues from the friendly confines of our draft tool. Really annoying sometimes to have to upload rankings over there, but no worries, we got you covered. You can adjust your own rankings. You can make your own strategy. And again, have that at your fingertips, have it plugged into your other leagues, and then be able to draft literally with, us there by your side, more or less, or at least the closest that we can come to doing it. So we also just have our ranks. We have cheat sheets, tiers, all my article content that I'm continuing to churn out day in and day out. 10K plus words, fellas, on the preseason week 1 takeaways. And I'm not someone who even likes to brag about a word count. If you can say something in 100 words instead of 1,000, that's better for everyone involved. But man, I spent all freaking weekend on this, all right? I'm out here grinding my ass off all freaking month for you guys. So again, if you want to support the show, if you want to just try to help your fantasy football teams, if you want to help your significant others respecting you more because you won your fantasy football league this year, consider a RotoWire subscription, and code Ian35 will get you 35% off. All right, guys, and with that, let's get into our free RotoWire mock draft tool, looking again at the 101 spot here. So as we said, we're going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs 101. By the way, ADPs are updating. I'm recording this the day after Jordan Tyson got injured. We also had Kyle Monunga, and the Chuba Hubbard, Jonathan Brooks thing is still taking a little bit of time in the Yahoo ADP, which we're using right now, to fully reflect. So please don't yell at me or RotoWire, just, kind of a reality of trying to do these mock drafts with ADP in the middle of August with news flying. So, hey, in this case, again, looking at our board that is going off with these computers, we actually had Trey McBride go a little bit earlier, missed the boat on the running back, but still has some pretty damn good wide receivers, and Brock Bowers waiting for us. So again, I don't always expect to get Brock Bowers here or anything like that, but I will certainly take it when it happens. Let's go with Mr. Brock Bowers, and then looking at wide receiver. Oh, did I miss it? I think AJB. Yeah, he did go in the middle of the round. So don't quite get as amazing of a push, but that's a reason why someone like Bowers was available as all. I'm going to go ahead and go with Mr. Olave versus Neighbors is close to me. Olave is healthier. Let's go with Chris Olave. I do have them right next to each other in my updated ranks. Getting back around the 4-5 turn, as you guys can see on our lovely screen right now, or if you're listening, I'll describe it for you. Already getting a few quarterbacks to go off the board. Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren going to middle of round 4. Didn't get our guy Lab McConkey to fall to us. We also did have a little bit of a running back push. Cam Scadaboo, Travis Etienne, Breece Hall, Jeremiah Love, all firmly off the board. Middle of round 4, Javonte Williams, man. If he could somehow fall back that 4-5 turn, that'd be pretty sweet, albeit also unlikely. So Montgomery and Swift, I'll go ahead in this case and just go ahead and take David Montgomery. So very close between the two. But now we have done what we talked about. We got Gibbs. We got Montgomery. We got my 2 running backs to start. Got a wide receiver 1 in Chris Olave, an elite tight end in Mr. Brock Bowers. Actually kind of working into the Super Bowers draft strategy that I've been trying to follow when possible this offseason. So we got my 2 RBs. We're good there. Not that we can't get a third good one if the opportunity arises, but I do need to play a little bit of catch up at wide receiver now. But good news, we have plenty of them we want. This is particularly true, guys, for 3 starting wide receiver lineups. If you only have 2 wide receivers you need to start and half PPR scoring, we are expecting running backs to ultimately be scoring more than wide receivers in their kind of best case outcomes. So actually double tapping Monty and DeAndre Swift here would be something that, again, if you only have to start 2 wide receivers, I would be very much fine with. But we have to start 3 in this one. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Mr. Jalen Waddle, round 5. Clicking through. Back to me. Any good running backs available? Jalen Warren, Rico, not bad, but I'm just liking the wide receivers a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and get Christian Watson and Parker Washington here. And we have now, again, already got 4 wide receivers and just 4 guys I really like. I'm sure we'll be wrong on some of them, but man, Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, Christian Watson, Parker Washington. Those are 4 guys that truly in my heart of hearts, I think if things break right for them, we're talking about top 12 seasons. And we managed to get them with Jahmyr Gibbs, with Brock Bowers, and with a solid enough RB2 in David Montgomery. So back on the board, want to play the waiting game at quarterback. What round is it here? 2, 4, 6, 7. We're in round 8. You guys know my rule. I don't like to take a quarterback before round 10. If we need to double tap a Kyler Murray and Jared Goff, we will do so. I'm going to look again at the running backs. Rachaad White, Jordan Mason, Kenny Gainwell, Aaron Jones, top guys involved. So is Jonathan Brooks. I'll take him for this. Is it very, very unlikely that he is going to be there for you? Yes, I get it. Bill Krosky-Merritt would be probably the other guy I'm looking at, but also the wide receivers, Jaden Reed, Josh Downs. Still some dogs here. Stephon Diggs as well. I'm going to go ahead. I already got Christian Watson. I don't love double tapping 2 wide receivers from the same team in redraft. Packers condensed enough to be one where maybe you make an exception, but I'm going to go with the guy that's still a little bit down the ranks, but maybe, just maybe, could be the 1A on his team. Probably the 1B, you can imagine. Give me Stephon Diggs, and then I'll come up here, and we'll take Jonathan Brooks, but, Bill Krosky-Merritt in a normal draft, probably that guy. It does sound like, by the way, the more and more tea leaves we get from training camp, Bill Krosky-Merritt over Rachaad White. Full PPR, maybe a little bit more of a head nod to Rachaad White, but looking more and more like it could be the Bill show. Had a couple quarterbacks go, guys, but guess which one didn't? Brock Purdy, round 10. Bo Nick's still available too. I freaking love it. Running backs, find enough dudes, wide receivers, pretty much hit the teardrop of wide receiver, okay? I love Jalen Coker's next is the biggest cokehead out here, but Jaden Higgins, Rashid Shaheed, good sleeper. I talked about Rashid Shaheed, but it is tough to completely rely on the dude. Casey Concepcion got sniped by 1 pick. Damn computers out here. So that's why I want to have 5 wide receivers in the first 9 rounds, guys. I don't want to have to rely on anyone past this point. It's okay to have sleepers, and I do. Maybe they'll hit. I just don't want to have to rely on them. So I'm going to get my quarterback, Brock Purdy, come on down. Then looking at the running back streets, Chris Rodriguez, maybe the RB1 in Jacksonville. I don't know. Let's go ahead and take him. Why not? Going through. I took off defense and kickers because I don't have time for that shiz. You guys know what I'm freaking saying, right? All right, back to us. We can go ahead and just finish up here. I'll take another quarterback, Kyler Murray, just to get some upside. Looking at the wide receivers, don't really see anyone I want. I'll try to get Trey Harris maybe in the last round. It's a fun bit I keep doing on these mock drafts. Go with Keaton Mitchell. There we go. Questionable, super high-end handcuff upside, but man, if you want to pick an offense, play caller, environment, all that 9-yard jazz, for someone to make the most out of their touches, it will be him. Every team's a good team to have Marshawn Lloyd. Let's close things out with him. A draft grade. You guys know how I feel about draft grades. If it's a good one, then that means I aced my draft. If it's a bad one, well, clearly there was something wrong with the technology going on here. But in this case, I am projected to finish first. I have a 95% chance of making the playoffs, and it goes ahead and gives the grades out here for each pick. So again, one of these things where started off with Jahmyr Gibbs, came back, got Brock Bowers in round 2. Tough, but not impossible, depending on the league you're playing in. I get it. Got my wide receiver 1 in Chris Olave. Got my second running back in David Montgomery. Then we went super hard with these wide receivers. Pause. Jalen Waddle, Christian Watson, Parker Washington, Steph Diggs. And then we're good, man. Could have gotten my guy Trey Harris, but I am way more fine leaving this bench stocked with running backs. Jonathan Brooks, maybe a little bit unlikely to get him there. I get it, but in reality, Bill Krosky-Merritt, I still feeling pretty good with him as my RB3. Keaton Mitchell, Chris Rodriguez, also some quality handcuffs. Marshawn Lloyd down there for good measure. Quarterback room, again, when you are taking an early round tight end, I am going to be playing the late round quarterback game. But Brock Purdy, round 10, round 11, if I waited a second to click him, and Kyler Murray, I'll go to war with that quarterback room. Feeling good. Definitely don't need a tight end too when we are dealing with, again, Brock Bowers there. That would be just the one other note, guys. We got Brock Bowers. We're not practicing BNF. We don't need a tight end too in this situation. So that, again, was out of the 101. Now I do want to take a second to go ahead and show you guys what it might look like if we do it out of the 104. So this is going to be, again, a slightly different situation, but we are going to be hopefully able to land someone that is a little bit better in round 2. We got Brock Bowers slide to us last time, but this makes us a little bit more alive to be able to double tap running back or potentially just get, an A.J. Brown caliber wide receiver. So going to be getting through the 104 now. That said, did want to give a shout out to our friends over at Splash Survivor First, guys, who we have a pair of RotoWire sponsored contests that you really should be looking to try to get into. First, the RotoWire 100K NFL Survivors, a traditional Survivor League with a $15 entry fee, and also the RotoWire 50K Touchdown Survivor, a player-based Survivor League. I freaking love the concept. Essentially, just an anytime touchdown Survivor League. This one does cost $25, but again, 50K and 100K is going to be on the table for the winners of these. So if that money is not enough to make you guys want to sprint on over to splashsports.com/RotoWire, well, maybe beating myself and Theo Greminger is, we will be in those streets competing with you week after week, trying to get that grand amount of stone cold hard cash ourselves. Again, splashsports.com/RotoWire. And guess what? If you use promo code RotoWire, you'll get a 50% deposit match and 100% payout boost. Look, guys, I'm not someone who enters 90 or 100 Survivor Leagues per year, but I do think it's a very fun complement to, again, just your weekly gambling and fantasy routine. So check it out, again, over at splashsports.com/RotoWire. Make sure you use promo code RotoWire to get that 50% deposit match and 100% payout boost. splashsports.com/RotoWire. All right, we are on the clock now. 104 Yahoo ADP, half point PPR scoring. I think I did half. Let's assume I did half. We'll say Yahoo ADP. Shout out, guys. They do some good stuff over there. Maybe it's all those new awesome fantasy analysts they've been hiring. Shout out to Hayden, Josh, and company. Everything they've been doing over there. Awesome crew. But man, ESPN, really? If you're playing over there, now do some content on it, but you see some wonkiness in those streets. And even my friends at Sleeper, step up. I think Yahoo might be coming for that crown, at least in terms of what I believe to be the best ADP out there. But in this case, again, using Yahoo, I've talked before about Puka versus CMC. I'm going to go ahead and go CMC in this case because I do just feel a little bit better about getting that RB to start. In this case, we have Brock Bowers go much closer to the turn at the 1-2. Looking at the available running backs, Kenneth Walker, the last one remaining, Nico Collins, AJB, George Pickens, Zay Flowers. So in this case, when those running backs slide, guys, I am fine taking the last man standing. I do think Kenneth Walker reserving to go at the 1-2 turn. So to get him at this point, man, sounds good to me. Come on down, Mr. K9. As we get into round 3 now, A.J. Brown, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice went off the board. I am looking, though, at the onesie spots. I don't see anyone I want. Brock Bowers, Trey McBride. We'll see about maybe Loveland or Warren in round 4 and 5, but not right now. And then also Josh Allen already off the board in the middle of round 2. He's not going to be an option either. So what do? We attack this awesome range of wide receivers. We'll go ahead and let's go Malik Neighbors this time. We took Chris Olave last time. Again, back and forth between the two right now. Higher, best case ceiling, probably Neighbors. Tyson should be back at some point. To my knowledge, he is still very much alive. And yeah, so get better soon, Jordan Tyson. But yeah, very close between those two. I'll go with Jalen Waddle at this point. Check the running backs real quick. We already got 2. Check the tight ends. Ooh, Colston Loveland, round 4 in this economy. Yeah, never mind. If I don't get Bowers, guys, I love me some round 4 Colston Loveland. I feel way better about the late round QB game than the tight end game. Much more willing to buy up at that position. So now we're good at tight end. We got my 2 sick running backs already. So guess what we're going to do? Play the wide receiver roulette game. So Adams, Burden, DJ Moore, JMO, Mike Evans, top guys available. I'll go ahead and go with Luther Burden. Because why get guaranteed production out of Mike Evans when you can take a risk on Luther Burden? Just kidding. Burden's the man. I'm not worried at all about it. I'm a little worried, but not that worried. Keep going. Wide receiver. Christian Watson versus Parker Washington. I'll go Christian Watson. Washington did not fall to me. That's a shame. But hey, here we are through 6 rounds now. We got CMC and Kenneth Walker holding down the backfield. We got Malik Neighbors, Luther Burden, and Christian Watson as our starting wide receivers. And we got Colston Loveland as an elite tight end. So I got my 3 wide receivers. Again, I want 5 and 9, but we can take a running back within these next few picks if there's one we like. Ramondre Stevenson, Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, J.K. Dobbins, Blake Corum. I'd lean Dowdle out of this group. I just think he is pretty much the Steelers wide receiver RB1, And these wide receivers, while good, I don't see someone screaming at me amongst Chris Godwin, Pierce, Quentin Johnston, Josh Downs, Diggs. If I have to get Jaden Reed and Stephon Diggs these next 2 rounds, which I think could be in play, I am very much fine with that. So let's get Rico Dowdle. More and more picks going off. Had a little bit of a quarterback run. We are ignoring them because we are scholars and understand we can get that position later. Back to wide receiver. Chris Godwin, fantastic. Josh Downs, Stephon Diggs, Jaden Reed, all available. Quentin Johnston as well. We'll go with QJ here. Why not? Through 9 rounds. McCaffrey, Walker, Rico Dowdle, running back room. Neighbors, Burden, Watson, Godwin, Quentin Johnston, wide receiver room, and Colston Loveland. Now I'm giving us all permission to look at quarterback. Once again, Brock Purdy is available, as is Bo Nix, Kyler, and Jared Goff. Looking at running back, mostly in the handcuff territory at this point, so we're going to start loading up on them here shortly. Wide receiver room, though, Stephon Diggs, hanging out, man. And I don't see anyone after him, so I'm actually going to go ahead and push quarterback one more spot. We'll get Diggs. And nothing even bad happened. These idiot computers are taking kickers. Just one, Brandon Aubrey, but, come on down. Brock Purdy. Could have gone Bo Nix if we wanted to stack. But you know what? I got Purdy and CMC. I know we don't usually do QB running back stacks, but if you're going to do one, it should probably be with those guys. Now that I'm in the later rounds, I'm very much good on wide receiver, so we are just going to be hammering some of these handcuff running backs. This is probably going to give me bad grades because I'm reaching on dudes, but you know what? YOLO. Let's go with Tank Bigsby. I'll get Kyler Murray again just to even things out a little bit. Because if I get to Purdy and Bo Nix, I admit they're not in the top 10 for a reason. I think having 2 shots at quarterback is fine, particularly when you do have a higher upside one like a Kyler Murray. We'll go Mike Washington, excuse me. Oh, Marshawn Lloyd went. These computers, man, getting sharper. We'll go Ray Davis out there. He's a great handcuff as well. And close things out with Jaden Blue, even though I'm not super confident. We'll go Braylon Allen. Why not? I still think Isaiah Davis could come back, but yeah. A D draft grade. Oh, no. See, these draft grades don't mean anything. You guys know what I'm talking about. But, it's because I had kickers and DSTs in here. Okay. Well, you know what? Friendly reminder. You don't need to draft a kicker or DST. Draft grades aren't going to understand the logic behind it, but as I'm drafting this on August 18th, you guys see it every freaking day. Another injury happens. Get handcuffs. Give me a Mike Washington. Give me Tank Bigsby. Give me the last couple guys I was taking. Jaden Blue, Braylon Allen. We saw what happened to Breece Hall. Do you know how much higher Jaden Blue would go if we heard that, unfortunately, knocking on wood, Javonte Williams just had to leave practice. You guys get it. So anyway, drafting out of the 104 spot, we double tapped running back CMC and Kenneth Walker. After that, we got Malik Neighbors in round 3. Chris Olave was there as well. Came back around. Colston Loveland fell in the middle part of round 4. We were willing to go with tight end at that point. If not, would have been a sweet wide receiver. But Bowers and Loveland, those are 2 early round tight ends I'm willing to break that mold for. And then at that point, we got our RB1 spot filled. We got our RB2 spot filled. We had Neighbors, got Loveland. We're going wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Burden, Christian Watson, Chris Godwin, Quentin Johnston, Stephon Diggs. And again, guys, if you don't like those receivers specifically, understand that there were other top 36, top 24, depending on what round the draft we're in, obviously. A lot of really good options in that range. Meanwhile, running backs, I think, have a lot more question marks. So came back, got Rico Dowdle. He could very well be our flex. I do think the Steelers running backs are the guys I'm willing to kind of break that wide receiver streak for the most, given the fact that it should be 1A, 1B. They're reasonably priced, and they both have huge handcuff upside. And then, otherwise, again, we don't practice being effed. We got CMC and Walker. Draft like you're right. We think we're going to be good there. Tank Bigsby, Mike Washington. 2 other handcuffs that aren't viewable right now because I didn't draft a kicker or defense, which is, again, why this grade is bad. I'm not mad. I'm not coping. Let the record show I'm not coping, But I'm also done with this video at this point, guys. All right. Early draft position, absolutely loving it. 101 if you can. If not, 102 to 105. Really do like the way how things play out, particularly in the first 5 rounds when we're best able to guarantee things. But guys, again, that's going to do it for me. If you like the video, please like the video, and hitting that subscribe button helps as well. Football, baby. We are so back. Preseason action. Going to be having, again, more takeaways next week. And then just trying to help get you guys ready for the draft. Getting a bunch of drafts in myself too. I have it was just been a little tough. I did one with Theo earlier this month, but just trying to get some of the daytime ones to fill earlier in August. People, I guess, have real lives or whatever to worry about. So, who could have seen that coming? But I do have at least 5 more FFPC drafts. I'm going to stream a guillotine draft as well. And we'll also be getting into best ball streets a little bit. We're fully in redraft mode, but we can still have fun. Maybe have a Kona Big Wave or 6. Try to get some best ball drafts in, win some money that way as well. So again, really trying to just go ahead and show you guys a strategy from different pick positions, different things I'm thinking, going through the positions, keeping up with the preseason. But pretty soon, guys, this is going to be time to draft, and allow you guys to see, again, myself and then some of the other top minds in the industry. We're going to have, again, maybe Theo back, Dwayne McFarland, Rich Reber, John Daigle, a bunch of those guys again going to be on the stream with me, drafting along. You can hear us barking about picks back and forth. Very excited to get those in as a compliment to all this other content we've had going on. So last call out, Ian35 for 35% off a RotoWire subscription, but it's also a free country. Do what you will. As always, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Call your loved ones, call your mom, say what's up, be a good freaking citizen, all that jazz. Anyway, I'm Ian Hartitz. Until next time, take care, everybody.